Well, now that attack could have been worse, but for a man, brave as he was filmed disarming one of the attackers during the Bondi beach shooting. He has been identified as 43-year-old Ahmed Al-Ahmed. Verified video shows Ahmed stealthily sneaking in on the gunman, wresting away his weapon and forcing him to retreat. A fruit shop owner and father of two, Ahmed remains in hospital after surgery for gunshot wounds to his arm and hand. Well, and for more on these shootings, I have with me in the studio a strategist, policy advisor, and the group CEO of Global Investment and Trade Company, Baba Yusuf. He joins me now, or in the studio, to look at these incidences, both in Australia, Sydney, Australia, and of course the one that occurred in America. Baba Yusuf, glad to have you join me on The World.
Good to be here, indeed.
Yeah, wonderful to see you again. Some commentaries, or commentators if you like, have it that there has been a rise in anti-Semitism, and the government was warned. Yeah. The question is, why the rise? What's provoking, what's causing this rise? If the government was warned, what did they do about it? Did they do enough? Were they proactive?
Well, thank you, Eddie. I think we heard the snippets of the statements made by the President of Australia. And like you rightly mentioned, the rise in anti-Semitism, not just in Australia, across the world. One of the reasons is some of them are takeouts of the what I call secondary impact, of people that consider what is happening in Gaza, for example, as injustice, to Muslims, and of course people that have long history of Islamic fundamentalism. Recall that this is not something that started today. We go back even pre 9/11, and then we had 9/11, and that has continued to escalate with regards to anti-Semitism. Deeply seated grudges and feeling by those extremists, and also the secondary emotions, like I said, with regards to what is considered undeterred, unabated, what is considered persecution, of Muslims, for example, in Gaza particularly. You see the tensions rising, in the narratives and the posturing in the United States, in UK, across Europe, and all over. So this, of course, is anti-Semitism. We can see what played out, father and son. But to answer also the question you asked, how come all this while the father had guns, multiple guns, licensed over a period of time? For a country like Australia, with due respect to them, I expected there will be reviews time and time again to monitor gun owners and what they do with it, especially with regards to homeland security. And then here we are, a father and his son have been indoctrinated, obviously premeditated, planned, and executed this. But the beauty that came out of it is for those that lump, Muslims around it. A Muslim was the one that was able to subdue the father.
I was going to talk about that.
That did that,
and
was able to neutralize this gentleman. To say that there are other people on the other divide that do not believe in this extremism, that do not believe in this anti-Semitism. And I will say to all of us that we should say no to anti-Semitism because it is a threat to all of us.
Now that you have even mentioned that, let's bring it. I mean, he was quite brave. He's now in the hospital. Yep. His name is Ahmed Al-Ahmed. What do you make of what? I mean, he sneaked. I mean, I watched the video.
Yes.
He quietly sneaked in on the guy, held him on the neck.
Yeah.
And, overpowered the guy, took the gun from him.
Actually.
Yes, pointed it at him. He didn't shoot.
Yes.
The guy was later shot by police somewhere. What do you make of the risk that he had to take?
Well, the risk demonstrates the level of heroism of someone who, even though is a Muslim, does not believe in that nasty anti-Semitism and hate, right? Instinctively, he moved in, not caring for his life, a father of two, right? Who could as well stand by and allow police to do their job, but he seized the moment and went on to subdue this person, disarm him.
What would that do? I mean, this is interesting.
Absolutely.
He's a Muslim.
Yes.
He was saving his community
Yes.
that he has lived in for quite a while.
Yes.
What will that do for the relationship and the camaraderie of that community in terms of religious balancing or religious tension?
Absolutely. It will also start giving a new dimension to the profiling of some far-right, individuals with regards to putting all Muslims in the same box. And I like the fact you mentioned with regards to the community relations, and people will now look at Muslims in that community and indeed even in the country and across the world that, hey, this is not just about Muslims, this is about a fraction of Muslims that are feeling and acting this way, just like we have a fraction of other people that are far-right thinkers, that are racist in nature, right? That does not constitute the totality of a people in a country or community.
Don't profile people.
And profile people, whether it is along race or along ethnicity or religion. And this is the message. And I was having conversation in another town hall conversation elsewhere last year, and I say, you know what? We forget that in the armed forces of the superpowers of this world, the United States of America, United Kingdom, even Australia, you have Muslims that are active servicemen and women dedicating their life to protecting the territorial integrity in the armed forces military, and you have dedicated policemen also risking their lives.
I mean, Ilhan Omar, the son, I'm sure you know, the
Absolutely.
son
Yes.
was arrested.
Yes.
With what is happening to Somalians.
Exactly.
I mean, the president, what he's talking about, that's what we're talking about, profiling.
Exactly. So, the world needs to, and I'm happy the world generally is moving on. We are making this progress. And that is why this kind of, scenarios are cherry news that will gladden the hearts of people, those that are sitting on the sidelines to say, no, this is it, and those that are skeptical to say, no, this is not what it is like. That's why I'm mentioning the people in the service of the armed forces, of the police in the United States, across the world, dedicating their lives to this.
People can now stand up and say, this is simply wrong. Don't do it.
Yes.
It's not all of us. It's just some
it's a
sect
fraction
of people who have
a
been
totality
wrongly
of people,
indoctrinated.
whether Muslims or whether
whatever.
racists.
All right, well, the PM is now touting tougher gun control.
Yes.
But the talk is that in response to increase in anti-Semitism in Australia, the government has been weak in enforcing the laws on this. I don't know what to lay the blame now. He's citing tougher gun laws, but some are saying that even the laws there, the government have been weak in enforcing those laws.
Well, it's a wake-up call for Australia. Let me remind us of what happened in 2019. Christchurch mass shooting in New Zealand, remember? Over 55 people were killed that very sad day. And the president, then the lady, immediately, they implemented sanctioning assault rifles. They banned them immediately, and they went on to enforce them. And significantly, we can see, mass shooting has significantly narrowed or zeroed in New Zealand. And that calls to action the issue of not just banning the guns, but actually taking action to ensure that those laws are implemented and reviewing periodically, because the threats, as you may call them, whether it is anti-Semitism or whatever, will continue to evolve. The same thing that happened in Nova Costa mass shooting in Canada in 2020. President Trudeau also had to come and then issue that ban on assault rifles, also tougher sanction. We saw some stability with that in Canada. From that 2020 today, the numbers trickle down. So one, not just I heard the president, but then the follow-up, I like the follow-up feedback by the government official that said it's still gray areas yet. They need to finish their investigation before they come with the holistic, policies. No. But that being said, the grading of the arms and munitions that will be banned is one. Two, how you are applying and implementing this, and to ensure that you are bringing it side by side to ensure that you don't go borderline profiling and then leave others to fiddle away. further down the line, we have to talk about the key reasons why we are having increase in gun violence globally. And if you look at America, for example, over 40% of those killings are not anti-Semitism, they are suicide, they are robberies. And
I don't have any time again, but just quickly, I was going to talk about something else, but just let me just drop this. Pope Leo has been speaking concerning the shooting. You know, he says, enough with this anti-Semitic violence, let us eliminate hatred from our hearts.
Correct.
What do you make of the fact that the Pontiff is adding
his
voice to this?
The Pontiff said it all. Hate will never take us anywhere. And hate is spreading around the world as we speak today, including our country, Nigeria. Unless we as leaders implement policies that ensure people are properly protected, regardless of their race, ethnicity, creed, or religion, we will continue to have these backlashes, either by those that claim to be victims or those that have a sense of ownership or sense of entitlement, as the case may be in the case of racism and all that. So brilliant feedback by the Pontiff, and I think all of us should take it on board.
Yep. Strategist Policy Advisor, Group CEO, Global Investment and Trade Company, Baba Yusuf. Always interesting listening to you when you analyze issues.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to be here.
All right.